Hey guys, how's it going? It's Erica with Not Your Average GDC. We're here for the review of the Benchmade 940 Osborne. So exciting. Okay, sorry for the weird angle. It's raining outside. I'm trying to get natural lighting. I don't have anywhere to film, so I hooked up the tripod to the porch railing. Here we are. Okay, the review of the 940. Everybody's been waiting for it. What do I think? What do I like? What do I don't like? Well, let's get started. The 940 is an awesome knife. It's iconic. It's classic. A lot of people love it. A lot of people, surprisingly, haven't tried it, but want to. And it's one of those knives that you hear a lot of people, they love it. They use it for things other than a knife. It can do anything. And I think that trend started with Cody from Wrangler Star. He loves the 940. He's been using it for years. And he kind of started this trend of the 940 being the best EDC knife for hard use. And a lot of people jumped on that kind of bandwagon because of him. Now, I do think a lot of people jumped on because he liked it, so they wanted to like it, and maybe the knife has been mildly misrepresented because of Cody. So, my experience with this knife has been really good, but I think for the average person, this knife is not going to be something that you enjoy. I'll explain why. So, I do carpentry, painting, landscaping, all that fun stuff for my job. I was testing the knife at work for a month, and I was testing it as not only a blade, but also as a multi-tool, basically, because number one, there's so many reviews out there of the knife that, like, if I was just doing another review, it would be boring, so I took it the next level, and I was kind of going with this trend of the 940 being a do-all tool. So on top of testing the blade steel, I was also testing its capabilities as a screwdriver and a pry bar, just to make the whole review a little more exciting and different. So the first, I'm trying to remember, it was within the first couple days of testing this, I broke the tip off. Just the very, very tip. Nothing too crazy at all, but I was at work and I was using this as a pry bar to pull some brackets off of a windowsill, and the tip did break off pretty quickly. So that was kind of surprising because, like I said, I was testing this as something other than a knife as well, to test this theory of the 940 being invincible, and the tip broke off within the first couple days. So that was kind of interesting to me. However, the rest of the testing, using this to open paint cans, using it as a screwdriver, using it as a pry tool, it did amazing. This thing is a beast. It had no issues at all with any of those tasks, and I think the very tip breaking off at the beginning was because I crammed this into a bracket, and like not even that much of the tip broke off, so I didn't really get like heartbroken over that because the rest of the testing went really well using this as a pry tool and a screwdriver. However, pretty quickly I realized that the thickness behind the edge was a problem. So if you are using this as a multi-tool, it's great until you go to cut something and it's too thick to cut. So I was cutting vegetables in my garden and I couldn't actually cut them. Like, it was impossible. I could not cut through the vines of the squash that I was trying to get for harvesting. I couldn't do any of that because it literally was just too thick, and the edge was sharp, but this thickness behind the edge is just way too thick. So immediately that was a problem because I don't do a ton of slicing tasks with my blades, but like if I need to, I would like to be able to, and I couldn't. And going out to the garden and harvesting fruits and veggies is one of the things I have to do with my knives. So I did end up laying back the edge to 15 DPS just to give that a shot instead of, saying it sucks and it doesn't work. So I did lay the edge back. It's 15 degrees per side now, and that did definitely help with the cutting capabilities of the blade. For sure. It still isn't the best slicer, though, at all. Not the best cutter. Laying back the edge helped. It takes a really toothy, sharp edge. Like, this edge right now is so sketchy. It's so freaking toothy and sharp, which I love. But, again, you're very limited with what you can do with this blade, cutting-wise. And the rest of my testing kind of took a turn in a different direction than I'm used to, because halfway through testing this knife, which I was testing it at my job, like hard use testing, my job switched on a whim, and I was watching kids for the last 2 weeks, which is something I used to do a long time ago. Something came up where my boss basically lost his child care for his kids for the past 2 weeks before they go to school. So I kind of turned into a normal average user for the last 2 weeks, a normal EDC person in the community who isn't doing the hard use stuff. They're opening packages and mail and maybe the occasional like food bag or something. Like, I just wasn't using my knife like I'm used to at all. I was barely using it at work. So that was kind of weird, but it actually, I think, helped the review, because then I got to view this knife from a normal person's standpoint, like the average user that isn't a hard user like I am. And the knife was able to do whatever I needed it to do. So basically, my final thoughts on the 940 are, if you are the average user that is opening packages, the 940 may work for you. If you are in some sort of trade field, if you're in construction or landscaping or mechanics or carpentry, anything like that, where you use your knife as something other than a cutting tool, this also may be for you, because you can surely do those things with this knife. However, the cutting capability is very limited, and I will say I think that there was a massive following and trend from Cody in regard to this knife, and I've had a ton of people message me saying they've always been interested in the 940, Cody makes it look amazing, then these people bought it and they're underwhelmed because it's not super capable as a slicer. And they're like, why, where did that hype come from for this knife if it doesn't even cut? You know, like, people are messaging me saying they're literally trying to fall in love with this knife because they want to love it, but they don't. It doesn't work for them. So I guess maybe people need to kind of like stop with this trend of wanting to like knives that other people like. It doesn't work like that. Like, if your lifestyle is not the same as somebody else's, then the tool might not work for you the same as somebody else's. Like, you guys gotta remember, just because somebody makes a knife look really cool online doesn't mean that you should go spend $200 on it and think that you're gonna love it too. You may not. I almost feel bad for the people that were keeping up with my videos and my pictures and saying, man, that knife looks so cool. All that wear on it looks amazing. Like, I've never wanted a 940 and now I want one, or now I got one, but I don't quite get it. It's like, well, of course you don't. You're sitting in an office 9 to 5. I'm out there like busting paint cans and brackets and all kinds of crazy stuff with this. And yeah, it worked for me, but when you go home and you're trying to like slice an apple for your child with a 940 and it's not working, yeah, that's not what this knife is for. And I know that it looked cool to you online and that you wanted to love it and you want it to do the slicey tasks that you do, the minuscule tasks that you do, but it's not going to do that. So I guess I just hope that people maybe think twice before getting this knife, because it's not going to be a slicer. It's not going to be like this holy grail knife that Cody has made it out to be. For most people, just not going to, because it's not a slicing knife. It really is a multi-tool in a very slim package. And it's amazing if you use your knife for tasks other than slicing. You may like it, but the average EDC user that is looking for a slicey knife, you're not going to like this. If you're just opening like boxes and food bags and stuff, it'll work for you just like it worked for me. But if you're looking for something slicey, don't even bother. Just look at cool pictures of it online and watch cool videos to get your fix, but don't actually buy it, because too many people are messaging me saying that like they thought their experience was going to be great and it just wasn't, because it's too thick. But anyway, I do love this knife. It's not going to leave my collection because for me it works really well. And I'm excited to go on to the little brother and test it. I do have that here. So now I'm going to quickly test the 945, the smaller, thinner version. I'm not testing this for a month. I have way too many things to test. So I'm going to run this for just a week and do a mini test and just do some impressions on it. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not going to run it for a month because I don't want to. So anyway, have a great day, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video and use your shit.